What's up, LeisureMartians? This is Rohit Raina. You're watching LeisureMartini, and I have just come back from watching Vikrant Rona. And I feel like I have watched about 12 different films in those three hours or 2.5 hours. All right, so it's kind of difficult to talk about this film without giving away spoilers, because as you already know, if you have seen my past reviews, that I do not talk of specific plot points of a movie, especially if it's a new movie and it just released yesterday. But if I had to talk about the film, I have to talk about my opinion, whether I liked it or not. That is also very difficult to say, because for the most part I was kind of wondering where they are going, what were they trying to achieve. There are so many things happening in the film at one time. There's a love story brewing, there is a guy who is investigating murders, then there is a family drama kind of a thing happening, and then there are some kids doing something. There is so much happening in that film, and for the most part it appears to be a pointless. A lot of that appears to be pointless, like it's not furthering any plot, especially the love story, which was a significant part of the film. It did not feel like there was any need of that story. Having said that, if you have watched the film, you know that love story was not exactly pointless, but that comes at quite late in the film. For the most part, you're like, why should I even watch these two lovebirds? I'm not interested in what they are doing with each other. So even though in the end we kind of know why that was important. I'm sorry if I have spoiled it in a way for you. I have not, though. But there are many things. I think this love story still could have been shortened. There It could have been a more coherent film. The action, if we talk about the action, it's great. The choreography is amazing, but I wish the shots were wider. I Sometimes it's too close to the characters, too close to the action happening, and you can't really make out. The film is dark in a lot of places, but not as dark as I had read about it. There were some critics complaining that the film is very dark visually, and then the 3D glasses make it even worse. That is something that I don't have that complaint. I thought the 3D actually was. This is the best 3D I watched in a Hindi film. Best in an Indian film. I have not seen a better 3D ever. Which reminds me, the Hindi film I watched it in Hindi. I always prefer watching these films, the South Indian films or any film in their original language. But in Delhi, you have this film running in Kannada in like four movie halls across Delhi. So it would be me commuting like 50 kilometers to and fro just to watch one movie. I was not comfortable with that, so I watched it in Hindi. I feel like it was Kicha Sudeep's voice in Hindi. I think he dubbed for himself. I have not googled it yet, but that's what I felt. So voice acting overall, it was not bad, but the randomness that I'm talking about, there are too many things and they don't feel like making sense. I think a lot of it comes from the fact that it was Hindi dubbed, which and same goes for the songs. The lyrics of the songs were absurd. Some lines were absurd. The exchange between different characters was absurd. I felt that at a lot of places, but I would boil that down to the dubbing, because I've seen dubbed Hindi films or dubbed English films in the past, and this film is no different. I thought it was probably bad dubbing for the most part. If I had subtitles, they didn't even have subtitles. If we had subtitles, I would have been able to make more sense. But uh, if I have liked the movie up to X extent, that's I could have liked it X times two, but the Hindi dubbing made it worse for me. Uh, uh, Still, it was a fun movie. It was a weird movie. Like I said, there was a lot of going on. There are multiple plots, subplots. They converge finally in the end, but you have to keep guessing throughout the film. Sometimes you kind of forget which character is what. Like, what is this character's role? Why was he in the previous scene? What is he doing in this scene? That happened quite a lot with me. I don't know if it's movie's fault, or maybe I was not alert enough, or maybe it's dubbing's issue. Uh, but I'll talk of the performance. There's one performance that looms large over everybody else, and that's Kicha Sudeep's. As expected, I have not seen a lot of his work, but I have seen glimpses. Even when I watched just the trailer of Dabang 3 back in 2019, I thought, wow, this man has so much charisma, and I had no idea who this guy was. I had not seen him before in any film, but those flashes that you get to see, that glimpse in Dabang 3 trailer, that was enough for me to tell that this guy can act. He has a lot of charisma, and if you get him in front of the camera, he will show you his screen presence, and that's exactly what he has done. Amazing screen presence, Kicha Sudeep. And also great performance, though there was not, I don't think there was a lot for him to sink his teeth into, into the character. It was kind of a I wouldn't call it cliche, but yeah, we have seen such characters before. This guy with superhuman abilities, fighting abilities, superhuman intelligence, not exactly superhuman, but yes, over the top. He can enter into the room, and he's the smartest person in that room. He's the bravest person in the room. He's the most action wise, he's the most able person in the room. He can beat up anybody. He can beat up any number of people in one go, and there is nothing is mystery to him. If there is a case in front of him that has eluded, the solution of which has eluded the best of minds, this guy will solve it, because he is that smart. That is the kind of character they went for Kicha Sudeep, which is, like I said, which is not something really new, but thanks to his performance, thanks to his screen presence, he made it look, I won't say believable. He made you invest in him. He made you to look forward whenever, like, you would wait for him to pop up on screen, which is basically he's there in almost every scene. But apart from him, great performance, great screen presence. The character is kind of okay, bit cliched, but still fine, good enough. Apart from him, the female actor, I thought, did a good job. Not that she had a lot to do in the film, but she still had enough. Except for these two, there were some side characters. There were some cops or havaldas and all. They did their job well. Uh, I won't talk about the main villain, because, like I said, that would be giving away spoilers. I cannot actually talk about other people, because that is where the spoilers lie. It's one of those films. When you start talking about one character, the audience will be able to figure out, like, okay, when you watch that film, you will call back to this review, and you'll be like, okay, so that's why he was talking about this guy, because he may have something important to do in the film. So that's it. I will only talk about these two people. He's good, she's also fine. The movie, I think you can watch it, but if you are someone who does not understand Kannada, I would recommend you watch do not watch it in Hindi, because you will get all sorts of confused, for the most part. uh, if I had to rate this movie based on this Hindi dubbing, I would say, out of 10, I would rate it 6 out of 10. It may be 8 out of 10, or it may be 7 out of 10 if I watch it in the original language. But for me, for the experience that I had today in the movie hall, I would say 6 out of 10. So that's about it. So see you when I see you.